Welcome back to the Coding Fanatic YouTube channel. I'm your host Richard, and here I'm an Android developer who is focused on efficiency when it comes to working on my projects, working with people in the workplace, and even learning new skills. I work on doing it as efficiently as possible, and here I teach you to do the same. And if that sounds like content that you're interested in, then hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you can see when I upload new videos like this each week. Also, head to the Coding Fanatic website, and if you join the mailing list, you'll be the first to know before these videos or before I publicize it, when the videos and articles are ready each week. If you are new to the channel, then let me catch you up on my latest project. So I worked on an app that is now in a Play Store that lets you see a list of addresses, and you can sift through the addresses using the zip code and state in order to find matching addresses and just display those in the list. But now that it's on the Play Store, I wanted to add a few more features and make it a little bit more robust just for the hell of it. And I'm working on a real-time database using Firebase. I spent the last few weeks configuring the database in Firebase and making sure everything was set up properly, as well as fixing a couple of issues that I ran into. And now that everything has been fixed, they're looking up. Things are looking pretty good so far. I started by setting the rules to read only in the real-time database, and then after that I created a JSON file with all the addresses that I use for the project so that I could import it into Firebase. And after that, all the data imported perfectly. I mean, that was probably the smoothest thing thus far. For those who don't know, the way the project works is, in order to get the addresses, I created a new class called homes, and that class contained hard-coded private variables that were used to instantiate each home object and store the address. But now that I have a backend, I no longer need to instantiate these home objects. In fact, I can probably just pull the strings in as they are. But the point is that I don't need to use hard-coded strings anymore, which is not even a best practice. And instead, I can now pull these addresses from the real-time database thanks to the data that I just uploaded or imported into the real-time database. At previous positions, I've worked with JSON files with doing testing and setting up databases and things like that, and I didn't really understand the full purpose of it until now that I have my own. And it makes sense, right? Like, imagine the app is used for multiple users and they each have a distinct set of addresses that they need access to. You can't hard code every address into your program and expect to have functionality that lets only specific users see different addresses. It's madness. It won't work. But what you can do is you can create a backend using a database and store all the addresses there, and then whenever they authenticate or whatever your workflow is for them to access the information, it'll make it easier for them to just pull the data that they need for their work. So, it's pretty cool. I'm glad that I spent time working on this and that I created this JSON file in the first place. In fact, this whole process of using a backend has been really cool, and I'm glad that I had the idea to implement this in my app, because it has taught me a lot about just things that you need to know for software development in terms of backend. And also now I see the utility of having a backend. I always thought that it was more about just reading data and moving things around or whatever. It was just, there's an air of mysticism around it, but now that I've done it, I get the whole point of having it. And I gotta say, if your app has a lot of data and you're not using a backend, you're doing yourself a disservice. Please set up some kind of backend service or something, because otherwise you're just adding more work and making things harder on yourself, which is kind of what I did in the beginning. But that's behind us now. Let's move on. Now that the backend is set up, I can finally move to the final stage of this app, and that will be pulling that data from Firebase into the application itself. So I'm very excited. This is what I've been working for the last few months. So it's all coming together now, and I'm really excited about it. That's about it. Let me know. Well, what do you guys think? What are some other services that you guys have used? Do you use real-time databases with Firebase, or do you have some other tool that you would recommend? I'm probably not going to use it this time, but just a heads up for future projects, new skills, right? Yeah. So yeah, let me know in the comments below, and yeah, thanks again for tuning in to the Coding Fanatic YouTube channel. I'm your host, Richard. If you can follow me on Twitter and social media links below, and yeah, join the mailing list so you can know when I upload new videos like this and publish new articles each week. And again, thank you all so much for the support. I've gotten some good tips along the way on things I can do differently in regards to working with my projects, and I'm always open for more input. We gotta. That's kind of the whole point, right? Is for us to all share information with each other. But my goal is to take what I learn and share it with you. So if you have anything you want to share with me, then by all means, send me a message or hit me up on social media. Yeah, that's about it. Peace.